the genesis of the Roundabout project was as part of a larger initiative to develop a mixed-use building at the south entrance of the campus. And we realized that the existing intersection was fraught with confusion, potential danger for drivers, for bicyclists, for pedestrians.
It was the most dangerous, poorly planned, not planned at all. There was almost no way to cross the road for a pedestrian.
The traffic situation here was terrible prior to this. I used to tell people the only way they could have made it worse was to put in a traffic light and make it green in all directions at the same time.
McMahon was suggested to us by the borough manager, and we realized that they had a tremendous amount of experience and expertise that they could bring both to our project and to the dialogue that we needed to have with the borough residents and borough government.
Well, it was a very unique intersection. You had a fairly high volume roadway cutting through a borough. So the challenge was, how do you provide access to that site, safe and efficiently?
We looked at a lot of alternatives when we were evaluating this intersection for improvements. And as we were going through our analysis, it became evident that the roundabout was the right solution.
A solution that would solve those issues as well as provide a real sense of entry to our campus.
And I actually remember the moment the engineer working on it said, "We have a really great idea. We think this is a great location for a roundabout." And as everybody started thinking about it, people were pretty excited about the idea.
The roundabout also allowed us to tie the multiple legs of the intersection into the roundabout design so that it was safer and reduced that driver confusion. Now with the roundabout, pedestrians only need to cross a single lane of traffic in one direction, so it's a much shorter pedestrian crossing and it provides them protection from vehicles. When you're installing a roundabout in a community where they're generally unfamiliar with them, the education process is critical. We went out and had very specific meetings with the public to discuss the roundabout.
People were very worried about safety, they were worried about flow, and we did have a lot of opportunity for public comment during the proceedings.
I think a lot of effort was really put forth by the college and by McMahon to try to help alleviate those concerns. And I think what McMahon also did really well was sort of dispel some of the, I wouldn't say rumors, but sort of the misconceptions about roundabouts when you compare them to what are traffic circles in New Jersey. I think that was a very big step.
One tool that we used was we created a visual simulation of what the intersection would look like with the roundabout installed, with traffic circulating through the roundabout, pedestrians crossing the roundabout, emergency vehicles, SEPTA buses. So it showed them exactly what this intersection would look like in the context of Swarthmore Borough once it was completed.
The flow of traffic hasn't changed at all. That was one of the concerns of people, was that somehow there would be this backup of traffic. The traffic is still, for the most part, flowing north and south. So there has been no impact, and I travel that roundabout all the time, and I have yet to see traffic back up, getting in or out.
The design of a roundabout forces vehicular speeds at a slower rate. Slower speeds result in safer conditions.
To my knowledge, there have not been any crashes in this circle, certainly none that have come to the attention of the Swarthmore police.
Now what I see not only our students crossing, I see young kids on bicycles crossing, I see individuals in wheelchairs crossing.
I've used it as a driver. I and my husband walk around town all the time, and I'm also a runner. So I run through the roundabout as well, and in all three cases, it's such a marked improvement over what we had before.
We have no problem making the turns around the roundabout. We were requested to get the turning radiuses on all of our apparatus, which we provided to the engineers. If I remember correctly, then they provided a mock-up in terms of a visual thing showing on the computer how that all the turning radiuses worked with the radiuses of the roundabout, and showed that it would work on paper.
So this is really the first location where we've had to address a modern roundabout design. And so it was something new for us, but it was a good challenge to deal with.
And we really came up with a good game plan during construction to maintain traffic, maintain pedestrian activity, and also allow the contractor to safely work. And now that the roundabout's been constructed, it seems to be working very well.
Well, the community reaction was interesting. There certainly are people who are anti-roundabout, and right away you get that they're taking them out in New Jersey.
Swarthmoreans share their opinion. So there are a lot of people who thought it was the greatest thing, great concept, and a lot of people who were reluctant for change, thought it was going to make a bad situation worse.
I initially was opposed until I started reading about roundabouts in Pennsylvania and throughout the country, actually.
You know, I spoke to one individual who I was standing right there with when this was just starting construction. He told me at the time, he was the one that said it's really only a matter of time before the first person dies when the roundabout is constructed. He said to me at the ribbon cutting ceremony how he couldn't have been more wrong about this.
There was even a letter in our local Swarthmorean from somebody who had been one of the chief opponents and who wrote a letter of apology to say, this is fabulous, I can't believe that I ever was opposed, and I want to publicly apologize.
Well, in action, it's clear that it works. You know, you can do all the simulations and all the explanations, bring in all the traffic experts and defend it, but until you actually see it work, if you're a true skeptic, you won't understand it.
If I stand out on the corner looking at something in there, inevitably somebody will stop me and say, this is so great, I can't believe we didn't do this before, or whatever.
What the Roundy's done for town, it's improved not just traffic, it's improved people circulation. This end of town was for cars, that end was for people. Now you can walk around downtown. It's expanded our little downtown. It really has filled in a missing piece. Very successful all around.